Hello guys, today we are going to walk through the room how websites work. This room will help us to know how websites are created. Let's move on to the task 1. How websites work. By the end of this room, you will know how websites are created and will be introduced to some basic security issues. When you visit a website, your browser like Safari or Google Chrome makes a request to the web server asking for information about the page you are visiting. It will respond with the data that your browser uses to show you the page. A web server is just a dedicated computer somewhere else in the world that handles your request. There are two major components that make a website. Front end, that is client side, the way your browser renders a website, and back end, server side, a server that processes your request and returns a response. There are many other processes involved in your browser making a request to a web server, but for now you just need to understand that you make a request to a server and it responds with data your browser used to render information to you. So our browser re requests from the server and the server will respond to our browser. This whole request and response goes via internet. Let's answer the questions. What term best describes the component of a web application rendered by your browser? So here our browser is client side, therefore it is front end. Okay, let's go to the task 2, HTML. Websites are primarily created using HTML to build websites and define their structure, and CSS to make websites look pretty by adding styling options, and JavaScript implementing complex features on pages using interactivity. Hypertext Markup Language (HTML) is the language websites are written in. Elements, also known as tags, are the building blocks of HTML pages and tells the browser how to display content. The code snippet below shows a simple HTML document, the structure of which is the same for every website. So it has a HTML tag, a head, body, and other tags. The HTML structure as shown above in the screenshot has the following components. The doctype HTML tag defines the page is HTML5 document. This helps with standardization across different browsers and tells the browser to use HTML5 to interpret the page. The HTML tag is the root of the HTML page. All other elements come after this element. The head element contains information about the page, such as page title. The body element defines the HTML document's body. Only content inside of the body is shown in the browser. The h1 tag element defines a large heading. The p element defines paragraph. There are many other elements or tags used for different purposes. For example, there are tags for buttons and images, lists, and much more. Tags can contain attributes such as the class attribute, which can be used to style an element. Example, the tag make the tag a different color. We can use class equals to bold text, or the source attribute, which is used on images to specify the location of an image, that is to identify where to find the specific image. An element can have multiple attributes, each with its own unique purpose. Example, p attribute 1 value 1 and attribute 2 value 2, etc. Elements can also have an ID attribute, which is unique to the element. Unlike the class attribute, where multiple elements can use the same class, an element must have different IDs to identify them uniquely. Elements IDs are used for styling and to identify it by JavaScript. You can view the HTML of any website by right-clicking and selecting the View Page Source or Show Page Source. Yes, we can see it here, View Page Source. The shortcut is Ctrl U. Okay. Elements can also have an ID Okay, we can answer the questions now. Let's play with some HTML. First, click the View Site button inside this task. On the right hand side, you should see a box that renders HTML. If you enter some HTML into the box and click the Render HTML button, it will render your HTML on the page. You should see an image of some cats. Let's do that. So clicking Render HTML is showing us a picture of a cat. One of the images on the cat website is broken. Fix it, and the image will reveal the hidden text answer. So if we observe the code, we can see that the cat2 doesn't have a file extension. Now we can render the HTML code. Yes, we have get the data. Add a dog image to the page by adding another image tag on line 11. The dog image location is image/dog1.png. What is the text in the dog image? Okay, now let's add a dog image. Now let's render the HTML again. Yes, the dog HTML. Cool. Now let's go to the next task, JavaScript. JavaScript JS is one of the most popular coding languages in the world and allows pages to become interactive. HTML is used to create the website structure and content, while JavaScript is used to control the functionality of web pages. Without JavaScript, a page would not have interactive elements and would always be static. JavaScript can dynamically update the page in real time, giving functionality to change the style of a button when a particular event on the page occurs, such as when a user clicks a button, or to display moving animations. JavaScript is added within the page source code and can be either loaded within script tags or can be included remotely with the source attribute. That is similar to locating an image. The following JavaScript code finds a HTML element on the page with the ID demo and changes the element contents to hack the planet. That is, from the document we get element by ID demo and change the inner HTML of it to hack the planet. HTML elements can also have events such as onClick or onHover that execute JavaScript when the event occurs. The following code changes the text of the element with the demo ID to button clicked. So button on click equals to document.getElement by ID demo and inner HTML button click me. So whenever this click me button is clicked, the inner HTML will change to button clicked. On click events can also be defined inside JavaScript script tags and not on elements directly. Click the View Site button on this task on the right hand and add JavaScript that changes the demo element to hack the planet. Okay. So if we just render it, we get hi there, that's all. Now our task is to add JavaScript that changes the demo elements content to hack the planet. So the demo element content is hi there. We have to change it to hack the planet. Okay. Let's do that. Okay, let's do that. So we are going to write the code to change the inner HTML content. we can directly take the code from here, and I will copy and paste it. So since the ID is demo, it will work fine. Now let's render it. Okay, so we get the answer to this question, which is JS is fun. Let me copy it here. Add the button HTML from this task that changes the element's text to button clicked on the editor on the right. Update the code by clicking the render HTML plus JS code button and then click the button. Okay, so this says to add a button, and when it is clicked, the button the text which is currently hack the planet should change to button clicked. Okay. So we can add this code directly. So since this is an embedded JavaScript, we can directly add it outside the script tags. Now let's click render HTML plus JS. So we get a button here. Now when this button is clicked, we can see the text has been changed. Now let's complete this task. Okay, now let's move on to task 4, which is sensitive data exposure. Sensitive data exposure occurs when a website doesn't properly protect or remove sensitive clear text information to the end user, usually found in a site's front-end source code. We know that websites are built using many HTML elements or tags, all of which we can simply see by viewing the page source. A website developer may have forgotten to remove login credentials, hidden links to private parts of the website, or other sensitive data shown in HTML or JavaScript. Sensitive information can be potentially leveraged to further an attacker's access within different parts of web application. For example, there could be HTML comments with temporary login credentials, and if you viewed the page's source code and found this, you could use these credentials to log in elsewhere on application. Or worse, this can be used to access other backend components of the site. Whenever you are assessing a web application for security issues, one of the first things you should do is review the page source code to see if you can find any exposed login credentials or hidden links. Visit the website on this link. What is the password hidden in the source code? Okay, so the website is this. So let's see the view page source. We can see here in the comment we have a temporary login credentials. So the username is admin, the password is test password. Let me copy this. Now let's go to task 5, HTML injection. HTML injection is a vulnerability that occurs when unfiltered user input is displayed on the page. If a website fails to sanitize user input, filter any malicious text that a user inputs into a website, and that input is used on the page, an attacker can inject HTML code into a vulnerable website. Input sanitization is very important in keeping a website secure. as information a user inputs into a website is often used in other front-end and back-end functionalities. A vulnerability you will explore in another lab is database injection, where you can manipulate a database lookup query to log in as another user by controlling the input that's directly used in query. But for now, let's focus on HTML injection, which is client side. When a user has control of how their input is displayed, they can submit HTML or JavaScript code, and the browser will use it on the page, allowing the user to control the page's appearance and functionality. So first the user types information into the input field. The input is used in a JavaScript function to show the name of the page. No input is sanitized, so you can write your own HTML or JavaScript and it will be used on the page. The image above shows how a form outputs text to the page. Whenever the user inputs into the whatever the user inputs into what's your name field is passed to a JavaScript function and output to the page, which means if the user adds their own HTML or JavaScript into the field, it is used in the say hi function and is added to the page. This means you can add your own HTML such as h1 tag and it will output your input as pure HTML. The general rule is never to trust user input. To prevent malicious input, the website developer should sanitize everything the user enters before using it in JavaScript function. In this case, the developer should remove any HTML tags. View the website on this task and inject HTML so that a malicious link to http://hacker.com is shown. Okay, let's view this website. Okay, so to get a link to hacker.com, we should use anchor tags for our HTML code. So that anchor tag is represented with A, and we have to use anchor tags so that when the button is clicked, our site would be redirected to hacker.com. So let's use the anchor tags. So every tag in HTML also follows with a closing tag. So we are going to write href equals to http:// hacker.com, and we can write a placeholder text here. Yes, now we can see that we got the answer. So let me paste it here. Thank you guys. This is the complete walkthrough of this room, how websites work. By watching this walkthrough, I hope you get the knowledge of basics HTML and JavaScript and how to sanitize the inputs given by the user. So thank you guys for watching, and also watch my other videos where I have walked through different rooms of TryHackMe. Thank you.